Here we are. It's Monday. It's May You Be Blessed Monday. And may you indeed. Make sure my sound's working real quick. Especially how many did anybody lose money on the Super Bowl? Hopefully not. Oh man. Well, the sound's working. That's good. We love when the sound's working. All right then. So, get this music playing and then I hope you all had a nice weekend. Here we are on Monday, ready to resume the imitation of Christ. Before we do that, though, before we get in it for the day, I thought I would give you guys a couple little things. So, Soren Kierkegaard, the famous philosopher, theologian, said, "The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays." And he had a book of prayers. I'm going to read you this one. Father in heaven, hold not our sins up against us, but hold us up against our sins, so that the thought of thee, when it wakens in our soul, and each time it wakens, should not remind us of what we have committed, but of what thou didst forgive. Not of how we went astray, but of how thou didst save us. So there you go. And I thought it would be wise too to highly suggest to anybody who comes to this in the future, anybody who's here now live, that if you didn't go read or listen to the study I did, welcome in everybody coming in. Zero, especially. What's up to you? Good to see you always. So on Bhakti Yoga by Swami Vivekananda, because I was re-listening to that, and when you pair something like that up against this, or again, I'll recommend the amazing channel of our friend Minosis and the book he's currently reading, Be As You Are. Well, it can really take out some of that fear of God that some of the Christian influence can put there, the Catholic influence. And it can also certainly help you to read between the lines. Because as I re-listen to Bhakti Yoga, I'm like, man, this just sounds really a lot like the Imitation of Christ in a lot of ways. So that's how I wanted to start us out for today. Aside from also we'll pull a card because we love to pull a card. So we can see what the energy to start our week out is. So we know how to move. And welcome into those of you just coming in. Feels like a trump. Feels kind of airy too. Let's see. I've been kind of wrong lately, so let's see if I'm getting it right this time. I was right. It's air. It's Ten of Swords. Again, we pulled this one when we started this book. So not a trump, but 10. So that final stage on the tree of life down into Malkuth. And in one way, that can kind of be looked at as the energy has degraded all the way down, right? Well, don't forget that Kether is in Malkuth as Malkuth is in Kether. Rala Cobb K9K says 67. Nice. Nice. And Zero I'm So 4 says 10 of Swords, that old beliefs are dying. Okay. I like that interpretation, Zero. So that's right, because the ruin here might not just be ruin you're doing to yourself in a bad way, but ruin you're doing to yourself in a way of exactly what Zero says, your old beliefs or your old thought patterns, um, ways in which you've been stuck mentally, you might be sending to ruin. The ways that the kingdom previously has been shattered, again, as we see that sword that would be Tifereth with the heart on the hilt all busted up. Well, we've gotten to a place perhaps where we're done busting that up. We're ready to repair that sword. And 10 Malkuth also being the kingdom, right? Another name for Malkuth. So restoring that kingdom using the powers of the mental faculties. All right, Sun and Gemini. Shout out to all my fellow Geminis. Much love to you all. Shout out to you all, no matter what your sun, moon, or rising sign is. I'm just happy to have you here with me. And Zero Einstein 4 says, change of perspective about something that make us feel ruined. Definitely resonate with me, J Baldale. I love you too, and I'm glad that that does resonate with you. And Rala Cobb, peace out. Glad to see you here, and glad to see you on to the next stage of your journey. Godspeed behind you, my friend. All right then. And that ruin might just be the ruin that some of you are feeling after losing money in the Super Bowl, huh? Now you're feeling like, oh no, I shouldn't have bet all that money. I shouldn't have drank all that beer. Now I'm feeling like my head really hurts while I'm at work. Hard to say what that ruin might be, but that's what the tarot's showing us. So for you, it's up for you to decide. Dub VT, always a pleasure to see you. Hope all is well for you. Hope you had a good weekend. Okay, well then, now that all of that has been said, has been determined, let's go ahead and get into it. We left off after finishing up the 21st chapter. So we'll go ahead and start the 22nd. If I can get my book stand to cooperate. Sometimes it takes a sec, but we always get it. There we go. Although when I go to highlight, it might give me grief again, but we aren't going to let that slow us down, not one little bit. Okay, so the 22nd chapter. Remember the innumerable gifts of God. The disciple. Open my heart, O Lord, to your law and teach me to walk in the way of your commandments. Let me understand your will. Let me remember your blessings, all of them, and each single one of them, with great reverence and care, so that henceforth I may return worthy thanks for them. I know that I am unable to give due thanks for even the least of your gifts. I am unworthy of the benefits you have given me, and when I consider your generosity, my spirit faints away before its greatness. All that we have of soul and body, whatever we possess interiorly or exteriorly, by nature or by grace, are your gifts, and they proclaim your goodness and mercy from which we have received all good things. Well, if that doesn't just sound like what Kierkegaard said. If one receives more and another less, yet all are yours, and without you nothing can be received. He who receives greater things cannot glory in his own merit, or consider himself above others, or behave insolently toward those who receive less. He who attributes less to himself and is the more humble and devout in returning thanks is indeed the greater and the better, while he who considers himself lower than all men and judges himself to be the least worthy is more fit to receive the greater blessing. That's like what the Tao Te Ching says. This book definitely has a lot that really reminds me of the Tao Te Ching, but I've said that already. I'll keep saying it though, because it's true. He, on the other hand, who has received fewer gifts, should not be sad or impatient or envious of the richer man. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Instead, he should turn his mind to you and offer you the greatest praise because you give so bountifully, so freely and willingly, without regard to persons. All things come from you, therefore. You are to be praised in all things. You know what is good for each of us, and why one should receive less and another more is not for us to judge, but for you who have marked every man's merits. Yeah, keep in mind that we might all have a really solid idea of what we want in life, but only God knows what we need. And that's like what I said about the HGA as well, is the HGA is going to be that spiritual influence you most want to connect with because it's going to tell you straight up what you need. And a lot of times what you want and what you need are two very different things. Therefore, O Lord God, I consider it a great blessing not to have many things which human judgment holds praiseworthy and glorious. For one who realizes his own poverty and vileness should not be sad or downcast at it, but rather consoled and happy because you, O God, have chosen the poor, the humble, and the despised in this world to be your friends and servants. The truth of this is witnessed by your apostles, whom you made princes over all the world. Yet they lived in this world without complaining, so humble and simple, so free from malice and deceit. There we go. That they were happy even to suffer reproach for your name and to embrace with great affection that which the world abhors. A man who loves you and recognizes your benefits, therefore, should be gladdened by nothing so much as by your will, by the good pleasure of your eternal decree. With this, he should be so contented and so consoled that he would wish to be the least as others wish to be the greatest, that he would be as peaceful and satisfied in the last place as in the first, and as willing to be despised, unknown, and forgotten as to be honored by others and to have more fame than they. He should prefer your will and the love of your honor to all else, and it should comfort him more than all the benefits which have been or will be given him. All right, 23rd chapter. Four things which bring great peace. The voice of Christ. My child, I will teach you now the way of peace and true liberty. Seek, child, to do the will of others rather than your own. Always choose to have less rather than more. Look always for the last place and seek to be beneath all others. Always wish and pray that the will of God be fully carried out in you. Behold, such will enter into the realm of peace and rest. So yeah, so like I'll say real quick how part of that knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel is because then that angel communicates to you your true will, right? But you'll find that your true will is synonymous with God's will. But the reason that it could be very easily said that a lot of the reason that the world's in the state it is in is because people are doing their want rather than their will. But also, God doesn't make mistakes. So it's something that could probably be endlessly debated. But part of that, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. Well, love is the law, love under will. So if so that will of your true will, God's will, the only thing that should be second to that is love, right? The disciple. O Lord, this brief discourse of yours contains much perfection. It is short in words, but full of meaning and abounding in fruit. Certainly, if I could only keep it faithfully, I should not be so easily disturbed. For as often as I find myself troubled and dejected, I find that I have departed from this teaching. But you who can do all things and who always love what is for my soul's welfare, give me increase of grace that I may keep your words and accomplish my salvation. Okay. So a prayer against bad thoughts. Oh, nice. We're getting hit hard with some prayers today. O Lord my God, be not far from me. O my God, hasten to help me. For varied thoughts and great fears have risen up within me, afflicting my soul. How shall I escape them unharmed? How shall I dispel them? I will go before you, says the Lord, and will humble the great ones of earth. I will open the doors of the prison and will reveal to you hidden secrets. Do as you say, O Lord, and let all evil thoughts fly from your face. This is my hope and my only comfort, to fly to you in all tribulation, to confide in you and to call on you from the depth of my heart, and to await patiently for your consolation. A prayer for for enlightening the mind. That part where he said, "Do as you say, Lord, and let all evil thoughts fly from your face." Well, that hits a lot different when you do that talk with Shooty, that's for sure. A prayer for enlightening the mind. Enlighten me, good Jesus, with the brightness of intent, if of with the brightness of internal light, and take away all darkness from the habitation of my heart. Restrain my wandering thoughts and suppress me the temptations which attack me so violently. Fight strongly for me and vanquish these evil beasts, the alluring desires of the flesh, so that peace may come through your power and the fullness of your praise resound in the holy courts, which is a pure conscience. Sick. Command the winds and the tempests. Say to the sea, be still, and to the north wind, do not blow, and there will be a great calm. Send forth your light and your truth to shine on the earth, for I am as earth, empty and formless until you illuminate me, until you illumine me. Pour out your grace from above, shower my heart with heavenly dew. Open the springs of devotion to water the earth, that it may produce the best of good fruits. Lift up my heart, press it down by the weight of sins, and direct all my desires to heavenly things, that having tasted the sweetness of supernal happiness, I may find no pleasure in thinking of earthly things. That's sick that he says supernal happiness. Snatch me up and deliver me from all the passing comfort of creatures, for no created thing can fully quiet and satisfy my desires. Join me to yourself in an inseparable bond of love, because you alone can satisfy him who loves you, and without you, all things are worthless. Man. All right, 24th chapter. Oh, hold on. There we go. My stand was a little wobbly, but I got it. Okay, so the 24th chapter, avoiding curious inquiry about the lives of others. The voice of Christ. My child, do not be curious. Do not trouble yourself with idle cares. What matters this or that to you? Follow me. What is it to you if a man in such and is such and such, if another does or says this or that? You will not have to answer for others, but you will have to give an account of yourself. Why then do you meddle in their affairs? Behold, I know all men. I see everything that is done under the sun. And I know how matters stand with each, what is in his mind and what is in his heart, and the end to which his intention is directed. And that's why, even though I'll kind of give a hard time to seeing what other people got going on out here, that seems to be I don't know, from where I'm sitting, seems to be kind of misguiding, misleading. I get that, well, there's always two sides to the coin. So even if I think it might be, if I think that what somebody's got going on is crap or is cringe, there's going to be at least one person out there who thinks it's the greatest thing ever. You know what I mean? And that it's been the biggest blessing in their life. So that's something to keep in mind. And also, I really do think that the majority of people mean well. I don't think that there's a whole lot of people. That's not to say that there aren't people out there, but just not realistically all that many who are kind of sitting like the evil villain in his lair, twisting their mustache, doing the muahahaha, thinking about how just getting all these they're getting all these suckers good. You know, that's certainly going to be a thing, but I think it's the reality of it is I think the majority of people are out here trying to do their best. But never forget the saying, huh? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Commit all things to me, therefore, and keep yourself in good peace. Let him who is disturbed be as restless as he will. Whatever he has said or done will fall upon himself, for he cannot deceive me. Do not be anxious for the shadow of a great name, for the close friendship of many, or for the particular affection of men. These things cause distraction and cast great darkness about the heart. I would willingly speak my word and reveal my secrets to you if you would watch diligently for my coming and open your heart to me. Be prudent then, watch in prayer, and in all things humble yourself. Actually, I think I just want to hit both these ones. Whole paragraphs. All right, the 25th chapter. The basis of firm peace of heart and true progress. The voice of Christ. My child, I have said, peace I leave with you, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, do I give unto you. From the book of John, chapter 14, verse 27. All men desire peace, but all do not care for the things that go to make true peace. My peace is with the humble and meek of heart. Your peace will be in much patience. If you hear me and follow my voice, you will be able to enjoy much peace. Remember what I said about the goddess telling me patience, patience. Well, Christ says the same. The disciple, what then shall I do, Lord? The voice of Christ. Watch yourself in all things, in what you do and what you say. Direct your every intention toward pleasing me alone and desire nothing outside of me. Do not be rash in judging the deeds and words of others, and do not entangle yourself in affairs that are not your own. Thus it will come about that you will be disturbed little and seldom. Yet, never to experience any disturbance or to suffer any hurt in heart or body does not belong to this present life, but rather to the state of eternal rest. Yeah, buddy. Do not think, therefore, that you have found true peace if you feel no depression, or that all is well because you suffer no opposition. Do not think that all is perfect if everything happens just as you wish, and do not imagine yourself great or consider yourself especially beloved if you are filled with great devotion and sweetness. For the true lover of virtue is not known by these things, nor do the progress and perfection of a man consist in them. Jeez, another. Oh, bumped him again. That's okay. This whole one, this whole lower one. Some real good things in there. And yeah, some things, like a lot of times where it's been said that many mystics or spiritual type of people would, I mean, if I remember right, one of those Bihar books, even where they were talking about one of the Swamis who had like returned from a journey and right upon returning went into a really bad type of depression. So and how that's pretty common from what I hear amongst these mystics and stuff is that they'll almost kind of have that bipolar or that manic type of thing where they'll get really down at times, but then at other times they'll get really, really up. And so it's a normal, a lot of these things are normal human things. Or even in another one of the lectures I was listening to about Islam, where it was talking about the part where Muhammad had lost his son. His son had died, and he had been crying, holding his son, and people were asking him, well, if you are the prophet, if you have the conversation of God, why do you weep? And he said that one can have the conversation of God, but if that man is a father, he will still cry when his son dies. So part of the point of being human is just that, to be human. The disciple. In what do they consist, Lord? The voice of Christ. They consist in offering yourself with all your heart to the divine will, not in seeking what is yours either in small matters or great ones, either in temporal or eternal things, so that you will preserve equanimity and give thanks in both prosperity and adversity, seeing all things in their proper light. Man, I'm probably just gonna end up highlighting like basically everything Christ says. Oh, and in fact, where's my pen? Because sometimes I like to do this when it's really important. And that line up there was where he said, yet never to experience any disturbance or to suffer any hurt in heart or body does not belong to this present life, but rather to the state of eternal rest. If you become so brave and long suffering in hope that you can prepare your heart to suffer still more, even when all inward consolation is withdrawn, and if you do not justify yourself as though you ought to be made to suffer such great things, but acknowledge me to be just in all my works and praise my holy name, then you will walk in the true and right path of peace. Then you will walk in the true and right path of peace. Then you may have sure hope of seeing my face again in joy. If you attain to complete contempt of self, then know that you will enjoy an abundance of peace as much as is possible in this earthly life. Okay, the 26th chapter. I think I need to adjust this light just a little bit. It's a rainy day here today, but I love a rainy day. But that means that the sunlight coming through the window isn't so good. So I'll have to crank the lamp up, I think. There we go. Okay. All right. The 26th chapter. The excellence of a free mind gained through prayer rather than by study. The disciple. It is the mark of a perfect man, Lord, never to let his mind relax in attention to heavenly things, and to pass through many cares as though he had none. Not as an indolent man does, but having by the certain prerogative of a free mind no disorderly affection for any created being. That sounds like some non-attachment type. Keep me, I beg you, most merciful God, from the cares of this life, lest I be too much entangled in them. Keep me from many necessities of the body, lest I be ensnared by pleasure. Keep me from all darkness of mind, lest I be broken by troubles and overcome. I do not ask deliverance from those things which worldly vanity desires so eagerly, but from those miseries which, by the common curse of humankind, oppress the soul of your servant in punishment and keep him from entering into the liberty of spirit as often as he would. My God, sweetness beyond words, make bitter all the carnal comfort that draws me from love of the eternal and lures me to its evil self by the sight of some delightful good in the present. Let it not overcome me, my God. Let not flesh and blood conquer me. Let not the world and its brief glory deceive me, nor the devil trip me by his craftiness. Give me courage to persist, or to resist, patience to endure, and constancy to persevere. Give me the soothing unction of your spirit rather than all the consolations of the world. And in place of carnal love, infuse into me the love of your name. Behold, eating, drinking, clothing, and other necessities that sustain the body are burdensome to the fervent soul. Grant me the grace to use such comforts temperately and not to become entangled in too great a desire for them. It is not lawful to cast them aside completely, for nature must be sustained. But your holy law forbids us to demand superfluous things and things that are simply for pleasure, else the flesh would rebel against the spirit. In these matters, I beg, let your hand guide and direct me, so that I may not overstep the law in any way. I'll say. Yeah, I would also suggest revisiting that single session read I did on Light on the Path. That one, oh man, that one is one that's definitely meant to be revisited. I mean, they even said it in there, but the more I do revisit it, the more I'm just like, goodness. In there, that in the very beginning, even the fifth one, which talks about kill out all sense of separateness, I believe is how it's worded. But then there's the footnote talking about how your idea of separateness just creates more bondage, especially for things that you perceive as evil or wicked. And so think about what's going on right now, right? They're feeding everyone plenty of things, whether it's files being dropped, whether it's corrupt forces out here abusing their powers of wealth or their powers of the law, whatever. All that's doing for everybody who's getting so pissed about it is just creating more bondage because they're doing so in a way where it's in this perceived way of separateness, right? Now that doesn't mean I'm saying that justice still shouldn't be served, but this is where non-attachment, this is the type of stuff they're really talking about. You know what I mean? Not that non-attachment runs a lot deeper than I think what most people think when they first start hearing it. All right, the 27th chapter. Self-love is the greatest hindrance to the highest good. The voice of Christ. My child, you should give all for all, and in no way belong to yourself. You must know that self love is more harmful to you than anything else in the world. In proportion to the love and affection you have for a thing, it will cling to you more or less. Oh, if your love is pure, simple, and well ordered, you will not be a slave to anything. Do not covet what you may not have. Do not possess anything that can hinder you or rob you of freedom. And right there, what I say earlier about the opposite side of the coin. So even right there, Christ says, those things that you've got that love for also. So see what I mean? That non-attachment, boy, whoo-wee, that karma. If your love is pure, simple, and well ordered, you will not be a slave to anything. There you go. It is strange that you do not commit yourself to me with your whole heart, together with all that you can desire or possess. Why are you so consumed with foolish sorrow? Why are you wearied with unnecessary care? Be resigned to my will, and you will suffer no less, or no loss. I like that last one. Be resigned to my will, and you will suffer no loss. Yup. If you seek this or that, if you wish to be in this place or that place, to have more ease and pleasure, you will never rest or be free from care. For some defect is found in everything and everywhere someone will vex you. To obtain and multiply earthly goods, then, will not help you, but to despise them and root them out of your heart will aid. This, understand, is true not only of money and wealth, but also of ambition for honor and desire for empty praise, all of which will pass away with this world. Cosmic Traveler, welcome. Good to see you. I hope all is well. The place matters little if the spirit of fervor is not there, nor will peace be lasting if it is sought from the outside. If your heart has no true foundation, that is, if you are not founded in me, you may change, but you will not better yourself. For when occasion arises and is accepted, you will find that from which you fled and worse. Yep, everywhere you go, there you are. A prayer for cleansing the heart and obtaining heavenly wisdom. Strengthen me by the grace of your Holy Spirit, O God. Give me the power to be strengthened inwardly and to empty my heart of all vain care and anxiety, so that I may not be drawn away by many desires, whether for precious things or mean ones. Let me look upon everything as passing, and upon myself as soon to pass away with them, because there is nothing lasting under the sun, where all is vanity and affliction of spirit. How wise is he who thinks thus? Give me, Lord, heavenly wisdom, to learn above all else to seek and find you, to enjoy and love you more than anything. and to consider other things as they are, as your wisdom has ordered them. Grant me prudence to avoid the flatterer and to bear patiently with him who disagrees with me. For it is great wisdom not to be moved by the sound of words, nor to give ear to the wicked, flattering siren. Then I shall walk safely in the way I have begun. Uh-huh. That last line there really makes me think about Amen indeed, one true God. It's great to see you as well. Hope you're having a good day. It's that last two lines really, but we're for it is great wisdom not to be moved by the sound of words, nor to give ear to the wicked, flattering siren. Then I shall walk safely in the way I have begun. That really makes me think of certain type of spirit work, that's for sure. All right, take a drink, and then we'll go. What time we running? Oh, not too bad. We got time for probably a handful more. Since some of these are this next chapter is literally this one paragraph. The 28th chapter, strength against slander, the voice of Christ. My child, do not take it to heart if some people think badly of you and say unpleasant things about you. You ought to think worse things of yourself and to believe that no one is weaker than yourself. Moreover, if you walk in the Spirit, you will pay a little heed to fleeting words. It is no small prudence to remain silent in evil times, to turn inwardly to me, and not to be disturbed by human opinions. Do not let your peace depend on the words of men. Their thinking well or badly of you does not make you different from what you are. Where are true peace and glory? Are they not in me? He who neither cares for to please men, he who neither cares to please men nor fears to displease them will enjoy great peace. For all unrest and distraction of the senses arise out of disorderly love and vain fear. Yeah, and it's gonna be easy to like look back on your life and be sad, you know what I mean? But through wisdom and understanding, you can look back and see that you were probably meant to live the life you did. Like growing up, I dealt with a lot of things that kind of never allowed me to have a very high opinion of myself. And so, at a certain point, that kind of rebounded in a way of me feeling like, attention seeking a bit, but then, pretty quickly my efforts would get shut down. So, it's like, but as I look back with that hindsight, I realized like, oh, that was a big time blessing. You know what I mean? I never allowed myself to get so up my own rear end, and that's a blessing ultimately. That's a good thing, but it takes a lot of different type of understanding to lead to that type of wisdom. You know what I mean? The 29th chapter. How must we call upon and bless the Lord when trouble presses? The disciple. Blessed be your name forever, O Lord, who have willed that this temptation and trouble come upon me. I cannot escape it, yet I must fly to you that you may help me and turn it to my good. Now I am troubled, Lord, and my heart is not at rest, for I am greatly afflicted by this present suffering. Beloved Father, what shall I say? I am straitened in harsh ways. Save me from this hour to which, however, I am come that you may be glorified, when I am deeply humbled and freed by you. May it please you then to deliver me, Lord, for what can I, poor wretch that I am, do, or where can I go without you? Give me patience, Lord, even now. Help me, my God, and I will not be afraid, however much I may be distressed. But here, in the midst of these troubles, what shall I say? Your will be done, Lord. I have richly deserved to be troubled and distressed, but I must bear it. Would that I could do so patiently until the storm passes and calm returns. Yet your almighty hand can take this temptation from me or lighten its attack so that I do not altogether sink beneath it, as you, my God, my mercy, have very often done for me before. And the more difficult my plight, the easier for you is this change of the right hand of the Most High. All right, the 30th chapter. The quest of divine help and confidence in regaining grace. The voice of Christ. My child, I am the Lord who gives strength in the day of trouble. Come to me when all is not well with you. Your tardiness in turning to prayer is the greatest obstacle to heavenly consolation, for before you pray earnestly to me, you first seek many comforts and take pleasures in outward things. Thus, all things are of little profit to you until you realize that I am the one who saves those who trust in me, and that outside of me there is no worthwhile help or any useful counsel or lasting remedy. Yeah, there we are. That. But now, after the tempest, take courage, grow strong once more in the light of my mercies. For I am near, says the Lord, to restore all things, not only to the full, but with abundance and above measure. Is anything difficult for me? Or shall I be as one who promises and does not act? Where is your faith? Stand firm and persevere. Be a man of endurance and courage, and consolation will come to you in due time. Wait for me. Wait, and I will come to heal you. There, that's your HGA speaking to you right there. Be a man or woman of endurance and courage, and consolation will come to you in due time. Wait for me. Wait, and I will come to heal you. It is only a temptation that troubles you, a vain fear that terrifies you. Huh, that's a line all on its own. Not even part of a paragraph. Just a little line right there. And a highlightable one at that. Of what use is anxiety about the future? Does it bring you anything but trouble upon trouble? Sufficient for the day is the evil thereof. Yeah, one thing I've really been thinking about a lot lately is the idea that this these worries you might have of the future, you might not even exist in that future. Death, you never know when death might be right around the corner, right? Coop TGS, welcome. Welcome. Great to see you always. You never know. You never know, especially with how some of these drivers out here be doing. Oh boy. All right, that's enough. I got to snap myself for that one. It was worth it though. But still, I literally, because today I had somebody pull out and I nearly got in a bad crash. You know what I mean? So luckily I didn't, but you just never know. And so you might be all worried about whatever, whatever stuff you read online that tells you about I don't know, all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of fear to be had out there, huh? But you literally might not even be there to see it. You know what I mean? Unless you're planning to reincarnate. But even then, the you as you know it now could potentially not even be there to see it. So right there, as Christ says, of what use is anxiety about the future? Does it bring you anything but trouble upon trouble? Sufficient for the day is the evil thereof. It is foolish and useless to be either grieved or happy about future things, which perhaps may never happen. But it is human to be deluded by such imaginations, and a sign of a weak soul to be led on by suggestions of the enemy. Thank you, Zero. I appreciate that. Yeah, if it had turned out to be a collision, then I think my car would have not been okay, but I still think I would have been fine the way it almost went down. But luckily, nothing other than a close shave. For he does not care whether he overcomes you by love of the present or fear of the future. Hmm. Let not your heart be troubled, therefore, nor let it be afraid. Believe in me and trust in my mercy. When you think you are far from me, then often I am very near to you. When you judge that almost all is lost, then very often you are in the way of gaining great merit. All is not lost when things go contrary to your wishes. You ought not judge according to present feelings, nor give in to any trouble whenever it comes, or take it as though all hope of escape were lost. And do not consider yourself forsaken if I send some temporary hardship, or withdraw the consolation you desire. For this is the way to the kingdom of heaven. And without doubt, it is better for you and the rest of my servants to be tried in adversities than to have all things as you wish. I know your secret thoughts, and I know that it is profitable for your salvation to be left sometimes in despondency, lest perhaps you be puffed up by success and fancy yourself to be what you are not. Yeah, and magic just has a real tendency to do that to a lot of people. And that can be the downside to doing groups like the OTO or whatever, where you go through these grade systems, you obtain what could seem like these what kind of are these like prestigious titles as you advance through the grades. And so you certainly will encounter some people here and there that just puff up their ego and talk about how they're the whatever such and such and this and that. But for most people, that's just a red flag. The majority of people, it seems like, are actually working through and learning the mysteries as they're intended to be. But you definitely still encounter that, and obviously we see that online as well. But luckily not in this group. We're all pretty blessed in this group. I think that everybody is just really wonderful. You guys are all really amazing, and certainly, like I say, usually I'm preaching to the choir with all of you, but you never know who might tap in the future. What I have given, I can take away and restore when it pleases me. What I give remains mine, and thus, when I take it away, I take nothing that is yours. For every good gift and every perfect gift is mine. If I send you trouble and adversity, do not fret or let your heart be downcast. I can raise you quickly up again and turn all your sorrow into joy. I am no less just and worthy of great praise when I deal with you in this way. If you think aright and view things in their true light, you should never be so dejected and saddened by adversity, but rather rejoice and give thanks, considering it a matter of special joy that I afflict you with sorrow and do not spare you. As the Father hath loved me, so also I love you, I said to my disciples. And I certainly did not send them out to temporal joys, but rather to great struggles, not to honors, but to contempt, not to idleness, but to labors, not to rest, but to bring forth much fruit in patience. Do you, my child, remember these words? And that's not a question. That's a sentence. You can see there ain't no question mark there. Okay, the 31st chapter, and we're creeping up closer to that hour mark. So maybe I'll go through this chapter. Maybe one more. Yeah, we better do 32nd because that's that holy number, baby. Well, shoot, every number is sacred, really, but because 31 we know is all or law. 32, 32 names of Durga, 32 paths upon the tree of life, 32 shout out Asmodeus. And 33, that's so now we'll definitely probably go through these next two and then maybe call it for the day. 31st chapter. To find the Creator, forsake all creatures. The disciple. O Lord, I am in sore need still of greater grace if I am to arrive at the point where no man and no created thing can be an obstacle to me. For as long as anything holds me back, I cannot fly freely to you. He that said, Oh, that I had wings like a dove, that I might fly away and be at rest. From Psalm 54, verse 7. Desired to fly freely to you. Who is more at rest than he who aims at nothing but God, and who more freely than the man who desires nothing on earth? It is well, then, to pass over all creation, perfectly to abandon self, and to see in ecstasy of mind that you, the creator of all, have no likeness among all your creatures, and that unless a man be freed from all creatures, he cannot attend freely to the divine. The reason why so few contemplative persons are found is that so few know how to separate themselves entirely from what is transitory and created. For this, indeed, great grace is needed, grace that will raise the soul and lift it up above itself. Unless a man be elevated in spirit, free from all creatures, and completely united to God, all his knowledge and possessions are of little moment. He who considers anything great except the one immense eternal good will long be little and lie groveling on the earth. Whatever is not God is nothing, and must be accounted as nothing. Maybe if I turn this a little, I might not bump it as much. Not that it really matters all that much. There is great difference between the wisdom of an enlightened and devout man and the learning of a well-read and brilliant scholar. For the knowledge which flows down from divine sources is much nobler than that laboriously acquired by human industry. Many there are who desire contemplation, but who do not care to do the things which contemplation requires. It is also a great obstacle to be satisfied with externals and sensible things, and to have so little of perfect mortification. I know not what it is, or by what spirit we are led, or to what we pretend, we who wish to be called spiritual, that we spend so much labor and even more anxiety on things that are transitory and mean, while we seldom or never advert with full consciousness to our interior concerns. See, and so that's why, for the most part, I would steer people away from Goetia, because let's be real. Most everybody only wants to work with Goetia because they see, because, oh, what demon do I summon? To get whatever material stuff. And not like we don't need certain material things to get by sometimes, but really people are just inviting in a bad time for the sake of getting a quick fix, so to speak, rather than, the few who I would recommend it to are the ones who really see this as the means to build the Temple of Solomon. You know what I'm saying? I know a few of you know for sure. Which again, the house of God, the self, the perfected man, all of that. And so, yeah, I think the majority of people out here are gonna they're just biting off more than they can chew with that type of magic. You know what I mean? Okay. Alas, after very little recollection, we falter, not weighing our deeds by strict examination. We pay no attention to where our affections lie, nor do we deplore the fact that our actions are impure. Remember that because all flesh had corrupted its course, the great deluge followed. Since then our interior affection is corrupt, it must be that the action which follows from it, the index, as it were, of our lack of inward strength, is also corrupt. Out of a pure heart comes the fruits of a good life. People are wont to ask how much a man has done, but they think little of the virtue with which he acts. They ask, is he strong, rich, handsome, a good writer, a good singer, a good worker? They say little, however, about how poor he is in spirit, how patient and meek, how devout and spiritual. Nature looks to his outward appearance. Grace turns to his inward being. The one often errs, the other trusts in God and is not deceived. Okay, and then 32nd chapter, and we'll call it a day. Self denial and the renunciation of evil appetite. So, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one for sure. The voice of Christ. My child, you can never be perfectly free unless you completely renounce self. For all who seek their own interest and who love themselves are bound in fetters. They are unsettled by covetousness and curiosity, always searching for ease and not for the things of Christ, often devising and framing that which will not last, for anything that is not of God will fail completely. Hold to this short and perfect advice, therefore. Give up your desires, and you will find rest. Think upon it in your heart, and when you have put it into practice, you will understand all things. And so, even though, like I said before, where he says the self thing, he has it as lowercase s self, which to me is like some going to be synonymous to your ego. but he's not going to differentiate because I have yet to see a capital S self. But to me, that's synonymous with Christ as far as this book reading goes. The disciple. But this, Lord, is not the work of one day, nor is it mere child's play. Indeed, in this brief sentence is included all the perfection of holy persons. The voice of Christ. My child, you should not turn away or be downcast when you hear the way of the perfect. Rather, you ought to be spurred on the more toward their sublime heights, or at least be moved to seek perfection. I would this were the case with you, that you had progressed to the point where you no longer loved self, but simply awaited my bidding and his whom I have placed as Father over you. Then you would please me very much, and your whole life would pass in peace and joy. But you have yet many things which you must give up, and unless you resign them entirely to me, you will not obtain that which you ask. Yeah, I remember Trav said one time, which I was dying laughing at. He said, "This work shouldn't be inflating your ego if you're doing it right. More often, you should be asking, 'What have I done?'" Yeah, literally. Oh no. Oh boy, what have I done indeed? I counsel thee to buy of me gold, fire tried, that thou mayest be made rich. From, I don't know, APOC. I don't know what APOC would be in the Bible. Apoc I don't know. Because if it's apostles, that's the same as Acts, but also that would be a S. So there you go. I'm no complete Bible expert. Maybe one day, maybe someday. Rich in heavenly wisdom, which treads underfoot all that is low. Put aside earthly wisdom, all human self complacency. I have said, exchange what is precious and valued among men for that which is considered contemptible. For true heavenly wisdom, not to think highly of self and not to seek glory on earth, does indeed seem mean and small and is well nigh forgotten, as many men praise it with their mouths but shy far away from it in their lives. Yet this heavenly wisdom is a pearl of great price, which is hidden from many. Let's see. Let's see if I can't find that one real quick. That answer to our Bible question. Oh, that's the book of Revelation. It's also known as the book of the Apocalypse. Okay, gotcha. Sick. So, okay, so book of Revelations, chapter 3, verse 18 was that last quote from up there. Way sick. All right. So, yep, I think we'll go ahead and end it there. And Zero says, "You are really amazing, Jay Balville. This book read is profound and love your background music." Thank you, Zero. Thank you. I love you. You're the best. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm enjoying this one a lot. This book really is hitting. So, for those of you who are also enjoying it, well, then I'm glad. I think after this one, even though we still got not a whole ton more, I think we're probably about half, a little over halfway now through this one. But after this book, I'm thinking I might do another one in the Bible theme, which ought to be a real sick one. Or I might pop into something yoga related again temporarily. But also, I'm undecided because, like I said in my last stream, that once this book is finished up, I might change the way I've been streaming because even though I'm enjoying doing it most days of the week right now, I don't want to just plop way too much on everyone's plate, even though I'm sure in time, what it's not that big of a deal, but still. So I think I'm going to kind of come at it, the channel, with just a slightly different strategy where I might tone down to just like a few days a week. And but for the time being though, I'm gonna worry about still going through this one and finishing this up, and then after that I'll kind of determine a bit more. But you guys, why don't you guys let me know either now in the chat, or if you come back to this later on the comments, what you'd be more interested in, another yoga type of read or something still Bible type of themed. Either way, you're gonna enjoy it, I promise you that. And then while we do that, or while I'm waiting to see what anybody might say in the chat, I'm gonna kick back for a sec. But if nobody drops anything, then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up for the day. Zero says, I love yoga. Okay, I had a feeling that you would probably maybe say something like that, or maybe say either way, you're happy to roll. Dub VT says, I'm all for more yoga and I really appreciate this read. It is easy to get carried away when everything is going your way. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, Dub. I'm glad you're in. Heck yeah, Dub VT says, needed the humble for real. Awesome. Well, then good. I'm really glad that there's a few of you who are finding this very enjoyable and very helpful. I think a lot of the views I get are just random people who pop in as I'm streaming. You know what I mean? I think that of the people who actually come and hang and get in the stream, we maybe got like a dozen or two. But hey, that's still pretty dope. I mean, if that were IRL, and that's like a small town church almost. If you got a couple dozen in there who are listening to you reading out a spiritual text, so I appreciate you all very much, and I love you all very much. And if nobody else has anything in the chat for now, if the rest of you peaced out, then please definitely leave something in the comments. Your feedback is very appreciated. And otherwise, I'll plan to see you guys tomorrow, where we'll pick up more. We'll start into the 33rd chapter, Restlessness of the Soul, directing our final intention toward God. Oh, sick. Okay, so then enjoy the rest of your Monday. May you be blessed Monday, as the stream is originally titled, and may you be blessed indeed. May you certainly find that which is the one eternal truth. And Cosmic Traveler says, I like the frequency of the lives, bro. Thanks. Heck yeah. All right then, man. I appreciate that feedback. Well, good. All right then. yeah, I get that. For me personally, as long as it's not somebody, I mean, well, shoot, I look at like Joe Rogan, for example, and that dude will drop a podcast like almost daily, or at least he used to. I don't really know if he still does, but half the time those are like 3 hours, and he's got people who are, you know, waiting on the edge of their seat for the next episode, no matter how good or bad the guest is. And so, but if I've got even a smaller crowd, and One True Goddess agrees. She says, I think it's a good refresher having the daily lives. Helps to stay focused. Sick. Cool. Well, if there's some of you who are finding it beneficial, then dope. That certainly gives me more to take into consideration. Well, cool then. Um, so yeah, if that's how some of you are feeling for sure, and anybody else who's hearing this and hits in the comments, then definitely let me know what you think, one way or the other. Don't worry, I'm not scared if you say that, man, no, you're doing way too much. This is annoying. You need to slow down. Whatever, just let me know one way or the other. I don't care. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. But what I'm thinking the format where I might switch up is where I might do like kind of like some themes. So, you know what I mean? Where I might do like, because I want to, well, I don't know. You guys can definitely let me know what you think about it as well. But if I did like one day where one like, so say out of like a 5 day week, or even if I do it for 6 days a week or something like that, where potentially be doing a couple books, you know what I mean? So like have something that's more magic focused, because since I look at it as we're all kind of students and we're all kind of trying to study, and we all love magic, but also we love things like yoga and philosophy. I would throw this book right here, right now, kind of more in that philosophical category, even though it's still a very spiritual book and a Christian book. Well, I think it's technically a Catholic book, but well, whatever. That's Christianity anyway. Um, so like a little bit of philosophy here and there, like mixed in theosophy, whatever, and then some more like actual magic, whether it's something like Eliphas Levi, Transcendental Magic, or Crowley's Magic in Theory and Practice, or even the Kabbalah books, and then a little bit of yoga. Or if at that point, then that really is too much on the plate, because then it's like, okay, yeah, you're hitting us 5 to 6 days out of the week, and also we got a few different books going at once. If you think it would be better to just keep burning through one at a time, but because like I've said too, I also want to read from the actual Bible, at least if some of the books out of there. Like I think Genesis would be great. I think Ezekiel would be great. I mean, the majority of it would probably be good, but maybe not the entire thing front to back. But whatever, we got time, at least for now. But you remember, tomorrow isn't promised. Always be ready for the kiss of death. Zero says, I think is awesome. You are covering a lot of different themes and topics. That's really complete. Okay. All right then. Appreciate you, Zero, always. And I'll give it another 30, 60 seconds to see if anybody else is typing, what anybody else might have to say. Otherwise, I'll go ahead and call it for the day. I know some of you might be at work. Some of you might be out driving. Some of you might be working out. Some of you might just be like, have to hit me down in the comments again. Don't be afraid to let me know. For those of you who come back and catch these on the replays who aren't here right now in the live. Because this is a group effort, the way I look at it. So even though I might be kind of steering the ship, you know, it takes a whole crew of pirates, baby, to get through the ocean. Or a whole crew of sailors, maybe. Since we ain't no scallywags. We're lovers out here. This is the lover ship. Headed straight to the island of the Lord. Okay, well then drop it in the comments. I'm gonna wrap it up. I gotta go to the bathroom anyway. But much love to you all. This has been Jay Baldale. This has been the Imitation of Christ. And I will be seeing you tomorrow. Much love. And if you're new, be sure to hit a like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you're new, don't be afraid to speak up for what you might think. You know what I mean? I'll take all things into consideration. All right then. Bye-bye.